Hey, and we are here today, and I want to just talk about today why maybe investing might not be the right thing for you right now. Listen to me. Maybe investing might not be the right time or the right thing for you right now. I really want to just go over, as you see on my channel here, I'm always implementing and always stressing the fact that as minority myself and individuals like we grew up in minority communities and didn't even have the education as far as investing and making, at the end of the day, making our money work for us. um, I believe is very important. I think once I've learned and still learning the concepts and the power of compound interest and the power of ownership and just my future, and hopefully I always say being in control as far as of the future. We don't know what the future is going to bring us, but at least we can start planting the seeds now. And as we go to work every single day and work hard, having our money work hard for us. But I'm going to be a little bit contrary to my opinion here, because at the same time, I think investing is not for everyone at this moment, right? It might not even be for majority of you watching this video right now. Uh, for me, I think personally, uh, investing itself, as we all know, investing, it has risk no matter what kind of investing you're doing, and you might not even guarantee to make any money. You might lose money. So that's one of the things that I feel that investing is not for everyone. You might not be able to lose your money. So I'm gonna just go over way, and I jotted them down. I actually got a little script here, or some points down, because I'm kind of all over the place. I want to keep my track of myself. So I jotted down 4 points, well, four markers on maybe why right now you might have to prepare yourself before you start investing. And this goes for any investments, whether it's obviously stock market, real estate, Bitcoin, as is the topic of the news every single day nowadays. Anything that you have to put your money into and you might be at risk of losing it. Why it might not be a good idea to start investing just yet. I'm not saying you're never gonna invest, but maybe not at the moment. And the four things you might want to take care of before you start investing, or 4 points that you might want to check off before you start putting your money to grow in the long run. And I'm not talking about speculative or day trading or even trading Bitcoin. I'm talking about investing for the long term. We talk about 5, 10 years investing minimum, and that is boring, but yes, that's the best thing we're talking about. So the first thing I realized that it made a big deal for me as well, is take care of all your debts. Tally up all your debts, and that includes credit cards, student loans, car loans, any medical bills. What else can we talk about here? Anything that's debt, anything that you owe to someone else, um, excluding the mortgage, right? A mortgage is totally separate. That's your home. That's a different situation. But any high interest debt, and most of the time, credit cards, car loans, student loans, medical bills, all these things are always, high interest, and you want to get rid of it as soon as you can, and make a plan to do that. There's great books out there of personal finance gurus that give you great concepts and ideas. One of the books that I've read that kind of changed and helped me on my journey of paying off my student loans was the Dave Ramsey book. I don't agree with everything he says and all his opinions, but he does give you a mindset and a concept of paying down your debts, from the smallest to the largest, and getting rid of the smallest ones first, and then you work your way down the list. Everybody has concepts. Some people say go by the highest interest rate. Whatever works for you, it doesn't matter as long as you get it done. The sooner the better. Pay down your debt. Pay it off. Pay off credit cards. Again, if you have a car loan, That might be having to wait a little bit in the back burner because it might be a bigger balance. But credit cards for sure, medical bills, any type of debts you have, take care of that first. And number two, after you pay off your debt, right? One of the most important things that I think it's not only is it less stress, more peace, is when you start having some type of money for an emergency, right? And those type of situations that are are like emergencies that come up on all of us. Everything, things happen, things break down. Your car breaks down. Your you lose, maybe your phone breaks, your computer breaks down. All these things that we use on a daily basis kind of break down, right? This is just part of life. You Something happens to you. You get to the hospital and you have this erratic medical bill that just comes out of nowhere. Your car breaks down. As I said before, I've had all of those happen. And when you don't have that money, it's very stressful. And I've gone through that and learning and experiencing that, is that when you have some type of money put away for these expenses, it makes the whole process a lot less stressful. Your mind is clear. You can just take care of it and move on. You don't have to struggle or scramble to look or get loans or debt to pay off this emergency because you weren't prepared for it. So I constantly try to work on my emergency funds, and I always feel that it's something that I try to emphasize, is try to get at least, depending on what kind of saver you are, if you're very confident, you can do 3 months of emergency fund, and that's basically 3 months of your expenses saved up. Or if you really want to go really conservative or extreme, I would say 6 months to 12 months of expenses. I personally think if you're just starting off, I think 6 months, 3 to 6 months is a good number to gauge for your emergency fund. And then if obviously you start making a lot more income, you start building a lot more wealth, then 12 months I think is a great number to have just in case. And that goes for job loss and anything else that comes, that all of us experience in our lives at some point in our lives. So the having the emergency fund in place, that's number two. Number three, before we start investing, think about what you're investing in. If you're investing to I would say short term, or we call that speculative trading, make sure you learn about what you want to invest in. Make sure you know what you're investing in. It's not just because somebody tells you, "Hey, you give me $100, I'll give you $10,000 tomorrow, or 1 month, or 1 year from now." That is not investing. Investing is understanding what you're putting your money into, the value is going to provide for you at a future date. So, as far as being speculative, understand that if you're investing in speculative investments, that's on you. And at the end of the day, the higher the risk, they say all this time, not necessarily does it really correlate with the reward. There's a great Warren Buffett rule. He said it at one of his shareholder meetings. He says there's 2 rules to investing. And the first rule is never lose money. And the second rule is rule number 1. I've heard a lot of individuals say this, but it's so true. Investing is about growing your capital, right? And at the same time, keeping your capital. So you want to grow it without losing it. Yes, you're gonna have fluctuations in the markets. Times you're gonna be down. It's fine, but it shouldn't be that when you log into your investment accounts, you're down 50% one day and then you're up 50% one day. That is not sustainable for the long run. You're gonna get a heart attack. You're gonna have high blood pressure. You're gonna get depression, and trust me, you're gonna want to jump off a bridge. It's just the way it is because we're emotional with our money. So if you're gonna start investing, try to start investing. And again, this is not investment advice. seek a financial advisor for this, but look for companies that you shop with every single day. If you don't want to start investing in companies, because that is a bit more riskier, go into index funds where you have, like they say, or ETFs where they have baskets of multiple companies, and it's a little bit less riskier. Doesn't mean there's no risk. There is risk, but it's a little bit less riskier because out of 10 companies in that one basket, if one company does bad, for the most part, at least 6, 7 of those, or 8 or 9 of those, are gonna pick it up. And if the same 3 of them do bad that day, the other 7 will come in and back them up. I heard this not too long ago. The term of basketball teams from the great podcast Earn Your Leisure. If you guys ever get a chance, go to that YouTube channel as well. Earn Your Leisure. They have great financial advice and just great interviews, great individuals. I've been watching their podcast. I've been listening to the podcast and now watching the YouTube channel, but for a while, and they're doing great things over there. And shout out to it, Earn Your Leisure. But they basically compare the ETFs to having a basketball team, right? And you have 10 players, and let's say you have the top players starting your game today, and on the bench you have the 5 backups, but they're all part of the all-star teams, right? So they're all great players, right? You got LeBron, you got Kyrie, you got Durant, you got all the great ball players, the top 10 in the NBA, let's say from the Western Conference, and let's say LeBron has a bad day and Kyrie have a bad day, you can still come and bring Durant and Curry. You can just swap them, and you still have great players coming in and backing up the bad days that the great players have. So an ETF is just a basket of companies where each company is producing, and if one has a bad day, the other one picks it up. They're just all kind of controlled, and they're kind of supporting each other on that same goal. So if you want to be at least the most, I would say, diverse, that's one of the great ways to go. But as always, do your research, and always make sure that what you're investing in, it is what it says and what's being done. So definitely try to minimize all that speculative stuff when you first start out. Keep it simple. And number 4, I would have to say, is basically understand the risk, right? Whenever you start investing, be okay with this money that you're putting into investing, understanding that it's a long-term process. It's something that you're gonna be there for, let's say minimum, I would say 1 year minimum, and then after that you want to at least do 2, 3, depending on your need for it. But if you are planning to buy, let's say, a car, or planning to buy a home, and you want to save up for that, that should be your separate account. That shouldn't be in your investing principle, because if you have to pull out that money and the market is not at a great point, you might end up losing more money than you actually put in. So if you want to start saving for, let's say, your first home, your new car, whatever it is you want to save for, keep that to the side. Put that money to the side, and the difference, then you can start investing in it. But don't invest if your main goal is to start saving for like a big purchase. That should be a separate account, and that should be a little less riskier than investing into the stock market or bonds or whatnot. Again, these are just markers. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but I feel that right now is the market the way it is, and everybody's like, you hear a lot of investors telling people to invest. We have to understand that it's kind of a stage in life, right? And we all know that, yes, the sooner you start, the better. If you're young and you're watching this, if you're young and you have no overhead, you're living with your parents, great. Start putting in some money and start putting away for your futures. But also remember that if you don't have an emergency savings, right? If you have a bunch of credit card debt and you're banking on these investments to make you rich or come in and pay off all of these things, it's going to be a high stress environment. You have too much pressure on yourself, right? it changes things when you have no debt, you have emergency fund, and you are putting money to work for you. And but there's the pressure is not, if one day if you have a bad month or a bad day, you are not gonna lose as far as your mind, because you have your emergency fund, you have no debt on behind you, and your bills are paid. But if you're using all of your emergency fund and all of your money that's supposed to be going to your debt, it makes investing a lot more. I would say a lot more, not a good experience. Let's put it that way. But hey, everybody's different. Everybody can tolerate certain risk. Understand that there is risk when you're investing. It's not risk free. Just because you're diversified doesn't mean there is no risk. There's always risk. But the whole point of this is to hopefully for yourself, you want to manage where you're rewarding what it is that you can tolerate. Everybody's different. Some people, don't mind risking it all. They go to it's like you go to the casino and you put it all on the table. And some people can't fathom that, right? I know for myself, I'm a conservative investor. I don't want to lose principal. And that's kind of what my motto has